how to choose the right life insurance plan for yourself and your family. In this video, I'm gonna be going over 5 different things. Number 1, what is life insurance? Number 2, do I need life insurance? Number 3, how much life insurance do I need? Number 4, what are the different types of life insurance and which one is best for me? And number 5, how much does life insurance cost? I should have chapters in this video, so if you just want one particular section, you can just skip to that section and avoid the rest and not listen to me ramble on for the next 15 minutes. But if you want to listen to the whole thing, that would be awesome as well. So with that, let's just get started with the video. What is life insurance in Canada? This is pretty easy to explain. Life insurance is essentially a contract between yourself and the insurance provider, also known as the carrier, saying that if you pay a agreed upon premium, they're gonna pay out a agreed upon amount, and that amount is called the death benefit. So depending on what type of life insurance you get, it could be term life insurance, you pay $30 to $40 a month, maybe the benefit is $500,000. If you pass away, then your beneficiary is going to receive that amount. It's gonna be tax-free in 99.9% of the cases. Is life insurance taxable? I have a video on that if you wanna watch that. Other than that, will life insurance pay out? There's definitely a lot of negative stigma around insurance companies, whether it's life insurance or home and auto or what be it. So will life insurance pay out? There's really only 2 reasons why life insurance will not pay out, and I'll make another video on this, but the first reason is suicide within the first 2 years. So after the 2 years, they actually will cover it, but in those first 2 years of the policy, they will not cover it. And then the second one is intentional misstatement or fraud in the application. So if they ask, have you ever been tested for cancer? And you say no, but they find out that you actually went down to Mexico and you got tested for cancer and it was positive, well, that would obviously be another reason to deny it. A little bonus third reason they would deny it, could deny it, is something called the Slayer rule. So that means essentially, if you're a beneficiary of a life insurance policy and you have someone else that's insured, and you kill them to receive the life insurance benefits, they will deny that claim. They're not gonna pay that out. So that's definitely the bonus rule there. So if you're the beneficiary and you wanna whack off your husband or wife to collect the proceeds, it's not gonna happen, so don't do that. For many reasons, but don't do that one. Okay, so number 2, do you need life insurance? Here's the thing, you don't really buy life insurance for yourself. You're buying it for people around you, and that could be your loved ones, your family, could be business partners, but you're really not buying life insurance for you. You're buying it for the people around you. So here's just a few questions that you can ask yourself, and you can start to think, do I need life insurance? Because I know in the life insurance industry, it's kind of pushed quite heavily on consumers that everybody needs life insurance, and I just don't really believe that to be true. I think some people definitely need it and they don't have it, but I think a lot of people have it and they probably don't need it. So let's just ask a few questions here, and then you can start to gauge whether or not you might need it. One of the biggest questions is, are you in a committed relationship? I mean, that's a big one. And does that individual rely on your income? So if you're married or if you're in a common law relationship and you guys live together and you're both working together and the bills are shared, the house is shared, the rent, the mortgage, all the utilities and everything is shared, if you were to pass away, would that negatively financially impact your partner? That's a really good indicator that you may need life insurance. Other dependents, like maybe children, other people that rely on you, grandparents, if you're maybe a financial pillar within your family, and if you did pass away, a lot of people would be negatively affected. That's a really good indicator that you probably need life insurance. Do you have a mortgage, student loans, or other debt? That's a really big one. If you have a lot of debt or mortgage or student loans, you don't want your loved ones to be saddled with that debt once you pass away. So getting enough life insurance to cover off all those debts is really important. So if you do pass away unexpectedly, that you're not leaving behind a bunch of debt to your family. By the way, I will make another video, because this is actually an interesting topic, how debt gets carried on to your family. So if I haven't made it already, I will make it, but if I haven't made it, it will be there. So you can watch that one. A few other things that you might want to consider. So do you want to leave something behind to charity? That's a really big one. And of course, we've kind of touched on this. Would your family be okay financially if you did pass away? That's obviously a big one. And then the third big one is, how much money do you have saved? So any savings that you have is going to offset your need for life insurance. So a lot of people actually self-insure. There's something known as self-insurance, and that's essentially where you have enough savings to replace all these things. So let's say maybe you had a need for $500,000, but you have $500,000 in savings. That's just essentially saying you don't really need life insurance. You have the savings there, okay? Ask yourself those questions and start to come to the conclusion on your own if you need life insurance. One of the questions that I get from a lot of clients, and there's also a lot of articles online, is I don't need life insurance, but I'm young. Should I lock in my rates now? Here's the thing. How do I word this? There's no right answer. There's no right answer. There's no right answer. I'll tell you right now, there's no right answer. I can only give you my opinion. Other people are gonna have different opinions. And at the end of the day, it's really your opinion that matters the most. So should you get life insurance at a young age, even if you don't need it and you lock in the rates? I don't think so. But that's just my personal opinion. We don't know how much you need. We don't know if you're gonna have a family, if you're going to have kids, if you're going to buy a house, if you're going to get in debt, if you're gonna have student loans. It might be cheaper to get it at a younger age, but if you're gonna be paying for it for 5 to 10 years before you actually need it, are you really saving that much? This is just my opinion, and you could have a different opinion. Other advisors have different opinions. I don't believe that you should pre-purchase life insurance just so you can lock in a rate at a young age and eventually you might need it someday. If you had a magic ball and you could see into the future and you could see that maybe you're 20 years old right now and at 25 you're gonna have a really bad health condition stumble upon you and maybe you're uninsurable or the cost is astronomically high, sure, but we don't have an 8-ball. And as a general rule of thumb, do I think that you should just be paying for life insurance just to get a locked-in rate? No. I think you should wait until you have a need for life insurance. But that's just my opinion. Other people have different opinions, and you can make your own choice at the end of the day. Okay, number 3, how much life insurance do I need? I will tell you right now, and this is, of course, a little biased plug for my own company. I'm the CEO of Affinity Life. We have a life insurance needs analysis, a recommendation quiz on our website, and you can just take this recommendation quiz to find out how much we would recommend. So visit that in the description below, affinitylife.ca, and just go, I would like to do a recommendation. It's just get a quote, get a recommendation, fill out a bunch of numbers, and you can get a recommendation. However, general rule of thumb is essentially 10 times your salary. A little bit more detailed would be your outstanding debt, if you have a mortgage on your house, if you wanted to save something for your children's education, and then essentially net annual income times the number of years that you would want to have that for your family. You would add all that together and then you would subtract your savings that you currently have, and that would give you the amount that you should have. So the net income times number of years you want to provide that for your family. Let me go into a little bit more detail with that. On our website, on the calculator, you can choose between 0, 10, 20, or 30. So you need to think how many years, if you're making $100,000 a year, how many years would you want your family to essentially receive that income? It all depends on really how long you think it's necessary. So maybe you just had a child and that child is 1 month old or 6 months old or 1 year old. Well, 20 years is probably a good rule of thumb because it's gonna be 20 years before that child moves out of the house and things are a little bit more normal now. Maybe you have a 30-year mortgage and you know, that's a good indicator right there. Maybe your children are already 10 or 15 and your wife would only need, your spouse, pardon me, would only need that income for 10 or 15 years. So that's really something you need to think about yourself. It's not something that we can just recommend to you. It's obviously something you need to come to your own conclusion. Now, here's the thing that I do want to tell you on how much do you need for life insurance coverage. So we have the recommendation quiz on our website. I just gave you a little bit of a detailed quiz that you can take yourself, just a rough estimate number. You go to other advisors, they're gonna tell you some different numbers, how much you need. At the end of the day, the best amount of coverage is the amount that you can afford and you will continue to pay for. So if you go to myself at Affinity Life or any other broker or anyone else and they say, okay, listen, Mr. and Mrs. X, we think that you need $2 million of coverage. And $2 million of coverage, let's say it turns out to be $200 a month. You say, well, okay, that's great. For sure, $2 million would be a really good number. However, I just can't afford it. $75 is really all I can afford without feel like this is just eating into our budget and we're not able to afford other things. Well, listen, whatever that ends up to be, if that's $750,000 of insurance, there you go. That's how much you need. And this kind of goes against what a lot of other advisors might say in the industry, but honestly, if that's all you can afford and that's what you know you will pay for year over year, that's what you should get. You shouldn't get an amount in the beginning where you're paying $200 a month and you pay for that for, let's say, 2 years, and then you say, like, we can't afford this, we gotta cut some things, let's cut the life insurance. Don't do that. Pick a number that you can afford and you're comfortable paying for the next 20 years, and you're not gonna get stressed out about paying it. You can always increase it down the road if you feel like your income has increased and or maybe your budget, your expenses has decreased, pardon me. For sure, you can get more down the road, but pick a number that you're comfortable with now. Okay, what are the different types of life insurance policies and which one is best for me? in a nutshell, and I made 2 different videos. Actually, I made 3 different videos. Wow. What is term life insurance? What is whole life insurance? And what is universal life insurance? So term life insurance is the easiest to understand. It's essentially going to cover you for a fixed period of time. So you choose a term, could be 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. You can renew it after that, but the price is going to increase, but it will be fixed during that period. I would recommend choosing a term that will cover you for as long as you need, and essentially price it based upon the fact that you're not going to renew it after. So what I mean by that, instead of getting a 10-year term and then renewing it twice to get 30 years, if you know you're gonna need it for 30 years, get it for 30 years, okay? Now, it's easiest to understand. It's a fixed amount, and essentially, once it's done, it's done. You're usually not gonna renew it. It gets way too expensive in the later years. It's based upon your age at that time, so the older you get, the more expensive it gets. But it's easiest to understand. You pay the premium. If something happens, the death benefit gets paid out to your beneficiary. It's also the most inexpensive option. It's the cheapest, easiest. So who is that right for? I would say that's the right choice for families that are just looking to cover themselves and their family during a set period of time. So this really could be, the biggest example of this, of course, is children are growing up. So you have children, you're married, they're growing up, they're not out of the house yet. If something were to happen, that would be really negative for the family. You're budget conscious, you're just looking for a set period of time, you're still paying down your house, you're still saving for retirement. You're in that period where you want an inexpensive option to cover you during that set period of time if something bad were to happen. After that, you're probably gonna be good. Term life insurance is the best option for you. Permanent life insurance, while it definitely can get a little more complicated, in a nutshell, permanent life insurance, and there's 2 different types, whole life and universal life, and I have videos for both of those as well. This is now a more expensive option. It's permanent, meaning that it will last you until you die, whether that's gonna be at age 50, 70, 80, 100, 120 if you live a long life. It's meant to last all the way until the very end. There is an investment component with permanent life insurance, and I'm gonna make a separate video on that. Is life insurance an investment? And I'll make that. If it's not already done, I will put it there. It's too much information to put in this. I have a lot of opinions on the matter, so yeah, definitely watch that one. Who is permanent life insurance right for? Permanent life insurance is right for families that are looking towards estate planning. So that really could be paying taxes upon death. So essentially when you die, everything you own is deemed disposed of. So if you have a lot of real estate, if you have a lot of investments, if you know that there's gonna be a larger tax bill upon your death, having a life insurance component, which turns into essentially liquid cash in the estate and they can pay those taxes, that's a really good way to use permanent life insurance. The other 2 ways you might wanna get permanent life insurance is if you wanna leave something behind to a charity that maybe is really important to you, or you want to leave something behind for your children or your grandchildren. Those are the 3 primary reasons why a family might be looking to purchase permanent life insurance over term life insurance. Now, the last one I'll get into here, how much does life insurance cost? It depends on a lot of different factors. So it depends if it's term life insurance versus permanent. So term obviously is way cheaper. Permanent's a lot more expensive. It also depends how long your term is. So the shorter the term, the cheaper it's gonna be. The longer the term, the more expensive it's gonna be. It depends on your health. It depends on your lifestyle choices. It depends on your age. So all of these factors come into play when trying to figure out the price for a life insurance policy. By the way, if you wanna run quotes on term life insurance products, again, visit affinitylife.ca and I'll put the link in the description and you can view quotes instantly. There's no bullshit, put in your email and get the quote delivered to you. No. You can just view it online 100% there. So I'll put the link in the description for that below. Other than that, yeah, if you guys have any questions, just throw them in the comments. I want to chat about this stuff. I'm really interested in this stuff. If you guys are enjoying this content, all I do is ask that you give it a thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Is it 5? It's small, put it on one page. Yes. What? Oh, did I? Yeah, I did the clap, and that's also record. Okay. Okay. There we go. Another